Presented by McDonald's of Glasgow, it's time for the Brown Sports Bag from the Heart of the Barrens, a weekly local sports machine. Alongside John Butler, here's your host, James Brown.
All right, we're back, and amazingly enough, the 2025 sports season is about to swing into action, and it's going to start with golf, at least at the high school level, here in a couple of weeks. And with that in mind, this week and next week, we're going to talk to golf coaches and let them tell us about their players and their expectations for this year. And in the case of Bart Roberts, who's with us today, how he has managed to find people to play golf. He's the Glasgow Lady Scotties golf coach. It's one of the more historic programs in the state. I mean,
yeah, second most state titles.
There you go. I mean, but a couple of years ago, you graduated everybody who had been playing, and then you had to start digging around and finding some people because it was kind of strange. There was nobody in the pipeline. There were no younger players.
Yeah, I mean, 3 years ago, we had 5 seniors who were all considering playing college golf. I mean, they were all excellent golfers, and I was afraid, and it was probably true, it intimidated a lot of the younger players, a lot of the 7th, 8th, 9th grade girls. They just felt like they wouldn't be able to keep up, or I don't even know. But, yeah, it was just intimidating, and recruiting was really difficult back then.
Yeah.
And then, like, we had Emery Gardner take a leap of faith with me. She was playing softball and golf at the same time, and she decided she kind of liked it, and it's just kind of grown ever since. And people have heard the reputation of our practices and my level of competition. And if you want to take it seriously, I'll take it seriously with you. If you just want to have a good time, we'll have a good time. It's about 50-50 right now with our team. So it's a tough balance figuring out. Some of them are really trying to get after it.
Yeah.
And some of them, they just want to learn golf to be able to play it as an adult. And they want to learn it as a hobby, which is excellent as well. So it's been fun. It's just been fun.
Well, and so you mentioned Emery. She'll be your only senior this year. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. And this will be her 3rd season playing.
Yeah. But you've managed to find some younger players, and you could see last year, even though you guys weren't playing a whole lot of competitive events and that kind of thing, but you hosted the tournament, went and played in Barron's tournament, played in some others around, and you could see those younger players, some of them just from the beginning to the end of the season, how much some of them actually looked like they fell in love with the game.
Yeah, I mean, with the younger girls, my motto has always been, make them love golf, or at least let them love golf. Don't worry about the scores too much, and just have a good time and understand we're here for fun. Now I've kind of got them hooked, so now it's who wants to get after it and who wants to grind.
Drug dealer.
But yeah, Emery competed in 7-8 tournaments last year. I had a bunch of 7th graders last year get their feet wet in some 9-hole matches and some 18-hole competitions. 18 holes is a lot, especially for someone brand new to the sport, and I make them walk at practice, but walking 18 holes in a competitive round is just a whole different ballgame. The pace of play is a lot slower in girls golf, so, I mean, you're looking at 5.5, 6-hour rounds. It just takes a lot out of you. So it was a great learning experience for some of my girls last year, and anyone who wanted to compete last year, I let them.
Yeah.
If they said, hey, I want to go play in this 18-hole tournament, I'm like, I'll sign you up. And then they did their best. And as you said, you see not only do the scores get a little better throughout the season statistically, but they started to enjoy it. They started to understand the nuances of the game and the tournament aspect of golf. So, yeah, I'm really excited about this season.
John?
Let's take a little sideways. I'm going to go sideways on you right here. Talk about we talked, obviously Glasgow has a tremendous history in golf, in girls golf, but even recent history has been good. Talk about the Kentucky State Am.
Yeah,
Which was if you want to build up a program, there was, I mean, how many Lady Scotties were all 4 semifinals?
All 4 semifinals had a Lady Scottie golfer in them. There was Taryn Dunham, and then you had Abby and Nina battling it out in the amateur competition. I didn't get to go up there, but I was keeping track of it on Golf Genius, and it was stressful for me sitting because, I mean, those two girls love each other to death, but when you're out there on the course, I mean, they're both wanting to beat each other, and of course, you would too.
And Nina's at Western Kentucky.
That's correct, yeah. So Nina started at center. And she played for one season there, finished third in the nation in Division III golf. And then her and her coach left simultaneously, and then she transferred to Western.
And Abby's at Middle.
That's correct, MTSU. So yeah, same conference.
Right, big rivals.
Yeah. I'm anxious to see what the fall season looks like for them.
Well, how many of your players, you didn't get to see them? That was during the dead period, whenever that was going on. But how many of them you think knew who they were and knew what was going on there?
Most of them. I would say out of my 10 varsity players, at least 7 or 8 of them I wasn't able to communicate with them, but I know they were keeping track of it.
Yeah.
And even just the PGA at Valhalla. I mean, golf in this area there's so much potential. If you want to see a model of success between the PGA at Valhalla and then with Abby and Nina and Taryn getting after it at the Kentucky Women's, Glasgow girls, it's not hard to sell.
Right. Yeah. Well, so we mentioned Emory, your only senior. Tell us about some of your other golfers, either new this year or coming back.
Sure. So one of the things I'm most proud of as a coach, especially at some of the skill levels that some of the girls brought to me, is we have a 100% retention rate.
Okay.
So every single girl that played last year is signed up and ready to play, turned in their physicals. We have 2 rising 11th graders. We have Nora Underwood and Cora Grace Jones. We have a brand new freshman named Gracie Bale, who we're really excited about. And then I'm returning all of my rising 8th graders. So we have Greer Benefield, and we have Lucy Kate Stallings, and we have Reese Cheney. And then I've got a bunch of 7th graders, and then I've got 2 6th graders who are interested in practicing with us. They can't compete.
Yeah.
Just trying to get that flow back. So that way, in the future, it's not so intimidating. I mean, people are excited about coming to practice and saying, oh, I can hang out with these people, or, oh, I can learn a lot from these players. It's a good roster.
Yeah. And then I guess the first match is July 22nd. Is it 2 weeks from today? At Park Mammoth? Is that the girls, ladies? No, maybe the Lady Spartans is a little later than that.
The first one that we're signed up for officially is the Lady Spartans.
Okay.
I believe that's on the 27th or 28th. I'd have to look at my calendar.
Yeah.
The season officially begins next Monday with practice. And then we're signed up for 8 tournaments before region.
Yeah.
So we'll take a full team of 5, like we were talking about before the interview. I'll have to do qualifying. So, Emory's probably a lock. That's probably a given.
Yeah.
But beyond that, these girls are going to have to come out and show me who can put the best 9-hole, 18-hole scores out. And I want them to love it. And I have a great relationship with all these girls, but it becomes very statistical at this point.
Yeah.
Who's hot right now, who wants to play, who can play, and their schedules are a little crazy this time of the year. With Glasgow, we officially don't start back till the 27th of August.
Yeah,
so,
you play almost the whole golf season before
yeah,
you get That's cool.
when we start school, I have about 6 weeks left of coaching.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It really is. But, it helps because we're able to kind of mix some morning practices with some afternoon practices. A lot of times, girls' tournaments are also shotgunned with the boys' tournaments. So the boys will start at 8, and then we don't get to start until 1 or so. So if we practice consistently at 8 in the morning, and then I have to send them out at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the heat can get them.
Yeah.
So just trying to mix and match my practice schedules to try to emulate what they're going to see. But so a lot of tournaments signed up.
Yeah, John?
Yeah, it's like anything, especially when you first start. You start to you talk about enjoying the game and so forth. Any game that you play, I was a basketball coach, but golf would be the same way. The better you get, the more fun it gets too.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And if they can see improvement, that's also a motivator as well.
Yeah,
it's no fun to go out and, especially after you played a while and practiced a while, and shoot 130.
We're running into that, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, some of these girls, they were in it for the pure just wanting to learn the game, and like you said, hitting the ball into the woods. And a lot of it is not necessarily, boys golf is more hit a ball into the woods and lose it. Girls golf is more, I hit it too short, or it was just a mishit of some sort. So not as many lost balls in that regards, but absolutely nobody wants to hit the ball 130 times in an 18-hole tournament. And in girls golf, in boys golf too, but in girls golf we have a circle 9 or a +3.
I got you.
So in a competitive situation, if they're playing, but yeah, I mean, nobody wants to do that over and over and over again. So
and you've seen that improvement so
yes,
far. That's
absolutely,
great.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you mentioned that circle 9 or +3. I think they made a little bit of an adjustment to that rule for this year, right?
Did they?
Yeah, I mean, well,
You might be teaching me.
well, I think it wasn't like it was agreed upon, but it wasn't set. If
Yeah,
I
the
recall.
+3. Yeah.
Yeah.
So officially, it's always been kind of up to the tournament director.
Yeah.
So everywhere you go, you kind of have to read and make sure that you're understanding. That way, you don't do anything against the code of conduct. But yeah, a lot of places have created this +3 pick your ball up. So on a par 3, it's a 6. A par 4, it's a
Pace
7.
of play too, right?
Absolutely,
Yep,
yeah. Our tournament, we have 84 golfers signed up, and if we want to do it in a shotgun, that means that we're going to have 22, or we're going to have 21 foursomes. And yeah, it's slow. It can get slow when you've got 22 groups out there trying to circle at the same time.
Yeah, I'm not sure which thing. I saw it on the KHSA last week, where after their meeting in May, that they had approved this a scoring change.
Yeah, well, for any region or state tournament, there has been no. I mean, you pick your ball up, your score doesn't count.
Yeah.
And that's probably still going to be true even with this +3. But I'm glad to see that the KHSAA is caring about pace of play.
I got a question since you have so many young players and so forth. What's the hardest part to teach? Is it driving? Is it the short game chipping or putting, or is it maybe just the mental approach? What's
That's a fair question.
I would think
At the very beginning, it's understanding the rules of golf to begin with. A lot of these girls don't understand the out-of-bounds lines versus a lateral, or when am I allowed to ground my club, and et cetera. And we ran into that a couple of times because I'm one coach and there's 5 players,
Right.
and I can't be with all 5 of them at once. And so, especially last season, this season will be a lot better. But I would make sure and tell all the girls in their groups, hey, if they do something, please show them. But as far as the actual game of golf, a lot of it is their size. They don't get the distance that they need off the tee, which requires them to continue hitting longer clubs. And both of you play a little bit, enough to know you'd much rather have a pitching wedge in your hand than a 3 wood. So as they continue to grow, and then they continue to develop their swing where they're hitting the center of the club more, they start hitting it longer, which gets them excited.
straighter.
Yeah, a lot straighter. Honestly, hitting the ball straight is not usually a high school girl's problem. I mean, there's always a fade or a slice or a push, but it's a lot of getting the distance out so that you have a short club in your hands, and then chipping and putting. It's the most boring part to practice. I try to be as creative as I can.
Save a lot of
with games.
strokes there, don't you?
We try to play games, and I try to do challenges, and we do like little contests and things like that. But you tell a male or female to go putt for an hour, it's just tedious. It's just tedious. You tell somebody to go hit a driver for an hour, and they're like,
it's
long
like-
shot, long shot, long shot, and then you say putt, 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 and they're like,
I like shooting free throws.
yeah. So right now, this season, our focus is going to be short game.
Yeah.
It's absolutely going to be short game. These girls can get the ball to the hole in an appropriate amount of strokes, 2 to 3 to 4.
And then you can save your strokes on the green, right?
Exactly. That's
Around
it. That's
yep.
going to be my number one focus this year is short game.
Do you have do the former players ever come back and visit you guys, or just
Yeah.
give words of encouragement?
Yeah,
like
definitely. Well, Abby lives on the course, so she
Yeah,
swings
there's
by
that.
all the time. But yeah, we've got Nina and Bailey and Allie. I've seen all of them out at practices. They're good role models. They're all on social media, so all my girls follow them on social media and keep track of them. But yeah, I've reached out to a few of them. They always come and help for my tournament. Yeah, absolutely.
Back to you're going to play 8 tournaments. You're going to start off with the Lady Spartans. That'll be at Park Mammoth. We were discussing before we came on the air. That's a rough place to play. Not necessarily the course itself, but just the fact that it's summertime and the sun is cooking you the whole time you're out
There is no shade on that golf course. And as we've already discussed a few times with pace of play, there's a lot of sitting and waiting for someone to tee off. Keeping them hydrated and just staying patient on that golf course. It's hot, and I can only expect it to continue to stay this temperature for a while.
Yeah.
Usually the first 2 to 3 weeks of golf season. I think we've only missed I think in my 5 seasons, I think we've only had 3 heat outs as far as the heat index.
Yeah.
And knock on wood, we've been pretty lucky with rain and lightning as well. But yeah, this time of the year is such a wild card for heat and weather.
And then you're going to have a tournament. When will that be?
It's August 1st.
Okay.
So Thursday, August 1st, and then there will be a rest day, and then Barron County's having theirs on Saturday the 3rd.
Okay.
So we've got a lot of teams. Casey and I tried to do that intentionally.
Yeah.
To try to get a lot of teams to come stay the night
I
and
see.
play ours.
Yeah, that's a
so
good
we're
idea.
both full. I don't know if she is. I assume she's full. Theirs always fills up because it's a Saturday. But we've got 84. I've capped it. I could probably take 90, but I'd rather just hang out with the 84. So we're full. We're a Tier 1 event. We've got a lot of teams from out of this. We've got all the local teams, but we've got some Louisville, Lexington teams. Marshall County's coming. So I hope that I've built a reputation that I run a pretty good tournament, and we've got a lot of repeat customers.
So when you say it's a Tier 1, does that mean it's going to be one of the events that counts in the state points?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. So in high school golf, there's tiers of the number of players that you have enter a tournament. So,
Okay.
for example, if a girl gets a first place in a tournament that only has 50 players, it's worth less than if she places first in a tournament with 70 players.
Yeah.
So golf, or girls golf at least, is 70 for Tier 1. I believe it's 60 for Tier 2 and then 50 for Tier 3. And a lot of these teams that are really trying to compete, and All-State's still a big deal in girls golf. I mean, everybody wants to win the state tournament, but qualifying for All-State is a huge honor. It still is and probably will continue to be for decades. And the
There's
best...
nothing to stop the best teams from being there because there's no regional qualifier and getting into the state. So you're going to get your top 12 teams or whatever.
Yeah,
it is?
exactly. 4 years ago, we were the number 4 team in the state and the second best in our region, and we beat South Warren at All-State and lost to them in region and didn't get to go to the state tournament.
Yeah.
So it's just an opportunity to see who's the best of the best based on their performance that season. And so, yeah, a lot of teams sign up to play our tournament because they know it'll be a Tier 1 event. It's good competition. If you do well there, you've shown that you're going to do well in future events.
What are some other tournaments that are kind of highlight to you for your team this year?
For our team,
Yeah.
we're going to play at Park Mammoth. We're going to play at Taylor County. As always, I really like the Campbellsville Country Club. I don't know why, I just do. We're going to play in ours, and we're going to play in Barron Counties. And then we basically travel every Saturday after that. So I really like Eagles Nest over in Somerset, so we always play in Pulaski Counties. We're going to play in the women's KIT this year in Russellville. And then the other 2 are escaping me. We're playing in a brand new one this year over in the eastern part of the state that I'm excited about. The name escapes me, but it's east of Somerset. So I'm excited to try that out, just a change of pace.
Hilltop.
Yeah, I mean, I drove to Lexington so much my first 2 seasons that I was like, if I can find somewhere besides there, and if it's great, awesome. A little secret, I mean, all the golf coaches know this at this point, but if you can find a Tier 1 event that doesn't have the top teams in it, you can sneak some points.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways to schedule your tournaments correctly. I'm just gonna say it that way.
John, you got any more questions for Coach Roberts?
No, just shockingly that 2025, 24-25 is already starting.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is kind of wild that we're getting this
We're
close
already
to the
turning
start
the
of the year.
page. That's correct. The
Yep.
next school year.
All right. Well, Bart, I want to thank you for joining us to talk to us about Glasgow Lady Scotties golf, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you guys out there.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right. It's Brown Sports Bag presented by McDonald's Glasgow. We'll be right back.
Presented by McDonald's of Glasgow, it's back to the studio with James and John, the Brown Sports Bag.
All right, we're back here on the Brown Sports Bag. We swap out Glasgow golf coach Bart Roberts for Glasgow golf coach Jonathan Belcher. He's the Scotties head coach. Is this your second year as the head coach of the Scotties and your return?
This will be officially the 3rd year.
The third year.
Yes.
Man, time flies, doesn't it?
It does.
Everything, for a while there, everything just kind of stopped for me. And then, we swapped out a bunch of different coaches and Been hard for me to know what year that was at this point.
Yeah, this will officially be season 3 back with the boys.
Yeah. So you had a couple of seniors last year. They were, Bo Shelton and Jace Cook. They were both pretty good golfers, I would say.
I'd say they're better than pretty good.
Yeah.
They're both, have unlimited potential. So we're gonna miss them dearly. I tried to get them to take a COVID year, but they both said
Yeah. But you did have some good young golfers coming back, obviously. I mean, Harrison being one of them, your son, but also Griffin Jackson, who made the cut at the region last year, and Tate Pace, who played really well early. He faltered a little bit later in the season. So what are your expectations as you guys get ready for this season?
To be honest, I really don't have any expectations at the moment because I haven't been able to get with the kids yet. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, Tate and Griffin and Harrison, they got some big shoes to fill, and then we're going to be looking for some guys to step up, and we've got some new kids coming that honestly I've never seen hit a golf ball. So
Is that right?
yeah, so I kind of don't know what we're getting into yet, but
Yeah.
we'll make it work. We'll figure out who's going to play, when and where, and we'll figure out pretty quickly what areas we need to work on. So,
Yeah. Who are some of these people you mentioned that are coming up, even though if you haven't seen them play before? I'm guessing you know that they plan on playing.
Yeah. So kids that are going to be brand new to the program this year are Gav and Copus, Wyatt Morgan, and Wilder Pate, and they're all three young. So
I saw Wyatt Morgan today. What is he, like 12 or something? Is he even that old?
Yeah, he'll have to be in 7th grade to play.
Yeah.
So I would
Okay.
think he's 12 at least.
Yeah. And then, so those are the guys that are like, you've not seen them at all, huh?
Correct. Yeah, I've never seen them hold a club, so I don't know if they're even right or left-handed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so obviously, we've got some other guys that have played the last few years: Preston Gaunce and Sam Allen and Gary Pennington. So
There's one good thing about never seeing them play. They could be great. Sometimes you've seen people play and you go, I know what they can't do.
they could be great. You're right. They're also 12 years old.
I know
so,
it could be. It could go any way on this one.
This is future projection of greatness, possibly.
Yeah. So, for them, it'll be we won't put any pressure on them.
Yeah.
Okay. We want to win. We want to do great. We want to do great things, but sometimes you got to take baby steps before you can run.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we'll be for the young kids. Is we'll try to teach them good fundamentals, and we'll teach them etiquette for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to lean on some of the older guys to hopefully step up and play some good golf. I know Harrison just because he's my kid. He's been at Governor Scholars all summer. So
Yeah.
He's back now, so he's out there playing right now. So hopefully he can shake off some of the rust in the next couple of weeks and do good things. I've heard through the grapevine that that Tate might be a little injured, but I haven't been able to talk to him because of the dead period. But I think he'll be okay. And then Griffin, he actually broke his arm this summer, and he just got back to playing a week or two ago. Played really well today over at Park Mammoth. I was hitting the refresh button on my phone a lot on the scoring app to keep up with him, and he didn't play so hot on the front nine for him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he shot 3 under on the back nine and ended up winning. I think he shot 1 under 69 over there, which is a good round.
Dang, that is good.
Yep. So apparently he shed the rust pretty quick from his broken arm. So
Right.
yeah, I'm looking forward to the season. Like I said, I don't really have any expectations right now. We start practice next week, and then we only have 7 days from our first practice to our first tournament. So we've got a lot to figure out with our roster-wise in a week.
Yeah. John?
Does it change your the way you schedule matches, not knowing exactly who you got coming back and the strength of your team, or do you want to play in your better tournaments because you got 3 good ones for sure and they need that exposure? Does that change anything, or?
No, not for us. We're going to play the toughest competition
That's what
we can get into. If we get invited to the best tournaments, no matter how good or bad our team is, we're going to go because it all leads up to the region tournament.
And you got players, whether you can qualify as a team or not, you got some individuals who are more than capable. That's correct.
Correct. Last year we had several people, make it to the semi-state. So, the team-wise, it doesn't. We don't look at it as, hey, we're going to be a state contender, so we're going to go play against the big boys all the time. We want to play against everybody.
Mm-hmm.
We want to play against the best, because my philosophy is, if you go play against the best, you might get a little bit better just from being around the best, And we, like this year, we'll have 20 events.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll have 10 tournaments, 10 matches, and those start the 22nd of July.
Mm-hmm.
So we're right up on the start of practice and the start of our season.
So is that first one, is that at Park Mammoth on the 22nd?
No, I got my schedule right here.
Okay.
My assistant coach, Chase Landrum, has been taking on the scheduling. So we've got it pretty much set in concrete, but we've got a couple days we can add. So our first tournament is on July 22nd, and Barron hosts that down at Barron River State Park.
Okay.
So that's where we'll kick off our season.
Gotcha.
Maybe not the best place to start on the back nine, but we'll get through it.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, that whole 18 breaks a lot of people, doesn't it? Coming up that hill.
Yeah, and the whole back nine, it's if you miss the fairway, you're probably losing your ball. So
right.
That's where we'll start, and then we'll go to Campbellsville Country Club, and then we host our Invitational on July 29th.
Okay.
Out at Willow Oaks.
So what? When you look at the tournaments you're going to play in, I mean, what do you think about them in terms of you want to play some of the top competition, but are there some of those tournaments like that Barron tournament? Is that one a little lighter, or is it just as tough as the rest, or does the course actually even have something to do with the toughness of the event itself?
The course has a lot to do with the toughness of the event, because that's what you're playing. You're not playing against. It's not like football where you're actually going up and hitting somebody from a bigger school or whatnot. It's everyone plays the same course, so you're actually playing against the course.
Yeah.
And then you just add up the scores at the end.
Everything else is uncontrollable, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
That's what I tell my guys all the time.
Right.
Like, it doesn't matter if you get on the first tee and you're paired with somebody who hits it 50 yards past you. They're going to hit it crooked if they hit it 50 yards past you, probably.
Yeah.
But we, the strength of the field, they're usually pretty consistent year to year, so we know, kind of what we're getting into.
Mm-hmm. So are there any one of those tournaments that you have at the early in the season or before the school starts that you kind of look at and this will be a good experience? It's not necessarily for your guys who had the experience, but your younger guys that are coming in or who have played a little less.
Yeah, I think starting off.
Yeah.
At Barron River State Park.
Well, I think most of you guys probably have played at Barron River. I guess I'm thinking about a place where they haven't played. That's going to be a different challenge for them.
Yeah. So we actually have a tournament this year in Central City, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Muhlenberg.
Yep.
So I played in that tournament when I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
The funny thing about that tournament is I was in the playoff for the win with my own teammate Benji Mars. So it was really a weird feeling to stand on the sudden death hole and you're playing against one of your best friends and teammate and that. But yeah, I would say I don't remember a whole lot about that course. I think it may even only be 9 holes, but I would probably venture to say that nobody on our team has been there before.
Yeah.
So we'll try to get up and take a practice round, or they'll go up by themselves and take a practice round. But that's a new one for us. And then we actually have a new tournament that we're playing Davies County, and that's at Ben Hollis.
Mm-hmm.
Ben Hollis, so that's over in Western Kentucky. That'll be a new one for everybody. The other ones we have are pretty much all courses we've been to before.
Mm-hmm.
Bowling Green Country Club, what we have later on in the season at the BGIT. Historically speaking, that's always a tough course for us.
Mm-hmm.
But as we get better, we'll play that course better. That's a course that, in my opinion, challenges you, challenges every club in your bag.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like at Willow Oaks, it's so short. It's like if you hit your driver good, you're going to have nothing but wedges in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little easier to score on, where Bowling Green Country Club you're going to have to hit your driver good, you're going to have to hit your long irons good, you're going to have to your mid irons and wedges. and the short game there has to be really good because of the speed of the greens and how they mow fairway and rough cuts around the green. So, yeah.
That's the thing that always seems to get people is they get a good shot on the green and then 2 or 3 putt the thing.
Yep. I've been there,
Off the
done
speed.
that. So, but overall, I mean, I love the way our schedule looks. We've added a few more matches, like 9-hole matches.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's financially better for our program not to have to pay and travel as much.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the coaches that we've talked to, since last year ended, said, gosh, it'd be really nice if we could get back to playing some 9-hole matches. So Chase has done a good job of getting some of those scheduled,
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I did notice like the last few years, the number of like midweek matches, those Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday matches had really kind of dropped off people's schedules.
yeah. So we're allowed to play 20 events through the year,
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, this year we're probably play 10 tournaments and 10 matches,
Yeah,
which is a pretty good mix.
yeah. And I guess the matches also, if you've got some younger golfers, it gives them an opportunity to play quite a bit more.
Yeah, true. Yeah, and in our 9-hole matches, everybody that will want to play, as long as they're comfortable playing. Like I say, I don't know about the 3 young kids.
Yeah,
I don't know if they'd be too intimidated to play or if their game's not in the spot where they don't want to go out and get embarrassed.
mm-hmm.
If that's the case, then we'll say it's fine not to play. But we'll be able to have some JV matches and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And some of the tournaments we'll be able to take all 9 guys if they want to go.
Yeah, got you.
Just depending on how many people are entered in the tournament. Like they'll all play at our invitation if they want to.
Yeah,
And probably at the Barron River, they can probably we can get them all in there too if they want to.
yeah. John?
Has there been any changes this year? I can't keep up with. They changed the format of the state tournament every year about who qualifies for regionals and sectionals and things like that. Is it the same format as last year, as far as you know, or they?
As far as I know, it's the same.
So you go to the
Everybody plays at the region, and then they take
top 2 and goes to the sectional or whatever.
Yeah, and then the individuals.
Yeah.
After that. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
The winning team goes to, let's call it the sectional.
It's just the winning team, not the top 2 team. Okay.
I think so.
Well, see, there you go.
It used to be the top 2 teams go,
I know.
but now I think it's just the top team.
And then the next like 5 or 7 individuals or whatever that number
Not
is.
on the winning team. Go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. I mean, they've monkeyed with it so many times over the last 10 years that, it's kind of hard to even keep pace because the sectionals, they just added those a couple of years ago, I guess.
Yeah, last year.
Last year.
Yeah. So I won't even look at that till September because it doesn't matter. I mean,
Right.
It's not like
Yeah.
it only matters on September 23rd,
Yeah.
which is when the region is at Indian Hill. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, hopefully by then we'll know where we are. Hopefully by then our kids will get some of the rust knocked off and we'll be ready to go.
So the boys regional will be back at Indian Hills this year?
From what I understand, they've signed a contract for the next several years, so it'll always be there.
I see.
Yep.
So that means we just won't have that moving around that we've been having where you might
Correct.
play it. Although they haven't played at Del Hollow in a long time, but you might play at Del Hollow or Monroe or.
It used to be every team in the region was on a rotation to host.
Mm-hmm.
I think that kind of went away over the years
Mm-hmm.
when Indian Hills jumped up and said, "Hey, you guys can play here,"
Okay.
which is either a good thing or a bad thing. It's probably a good thing for us because our kids play pretty well there.
Yeah.
But it's also a little disappointing when you don't get to host the region at your home course.
Is Indian Hills a home school for any of the Bowling Green schools or home course or?
You can say no, but it kind of is because they're all members there.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like playing high school matches and practicing out there, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think any of them do.
Yeah. Do you like that sectional setup, or did you prefer, because you probably played under a time where and even coached the first time around where basically top 2 and then 3 individuals went to the state directly right out of the region?
Yeah, I don't know if I like it yet or not because it's only been out here 1 year.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it better than just taking one and going straight to Bowling Green.
Yeah, that was pretty tough,
Because-
that little stretch.
Because your whole season comes down to one day in that case, where, last year I thought we had a really good shot of winning as a team, and we were really close. I mean,
in the region, it's 1 day, 1 round.
1 day, 1 round.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
probably ideally be 2 rounds, but I know it's school related and things like that. But to be honest with you, a fair mark of a golf should be 2 days.
The more rounds it could be, it identifies the better players.
I agree. I agree 100%.
I mean, it's a kind of a crapshoot when it's just 1 day.
Yeah, I mean, you don't play.
You can get hot, and best team doesn't win.
Yeah, you don't play a major. Pros don't just 1 round and they determine. It's multiple rounds.
Well, I mean, like you're talking about that regional, there was a kid, I think for Greenwood, who just had an out-of-body experience that day. He was like their number 5 golfer or whatever. They ended up basically winning the tournament for him. Was that right? I believe that's the case.
I think so, but
yeah, because everybody got to the last hole and like started having a struggle, as I recall.
Yeah, in their defense, the last hole at Indian Hills it's tough.
Yeah,
I mean, it's trouble left, trouble right, a little bit of water if you hit it way left.
Yeah,
so it's a tough hole to finish on.
Yeah,
everybody looks at it how we finished last year. We did not lose that golf tournament on number 18.
No,
we lost that golf tournament on hole number 4.
Yeah.
After I go back and look at all the stats, that's where we lost it.
Yeah, I think you had 3 different golfers who really struggled on that one.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't even know if we had a par.
No, I don't think so.
And I think we might have had 8. So I think Harrison might have made 8 on it. So
yeah,
he's famous for doing that. But no, I mean, get back to your original question: do I like it or not? I mean, I like it better than one team going.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that there's more individuals that can go.
Mm-hmm.
So
it opens the door for some of the younger kids, like Griffin Jackson got last year, getting experience to go play at a state level, even if it's not the state tournament.
It helps the kids that are pretty good but aren't on a great team.
Mm-hmm.
It helps them move on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is probably the case for us this year. I mean, can we win the region? Yeah.
Mm.
Is it going to be hard? Yep. We're going to have some kids step up, but they've known that since September of last year. So
right.
We'll see what they did over the winter and the spring.
Yeah. Anything else you want folks to know?
No, I just want everybody to know that we got a lot of support out here in Glasgow, and I probably don't say it enough, and we probably don't send it out enough, but we really appreciate everything the community does for us. We've got a lot of people that pour their heart and soul into our program and give us money to make our season possible. So just want to say thanks to them, and we always really appreciate the support we get. When we have home matches in our home tournament, we've got a lot of people that come out and watch. So that it means a lot to our kids to see some of the older generation that love to come out and watch the kids play, and they always seem to have a good time. I mean, Miss Fleener is one of them.
Yes,
she's been around a while, and she always comes out and watches every match.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she's like 90.
Mm-hmm. Every
match, every tournament we have, Miss Fleener always rolls up.
Mm-hmm.
And if she doesn't come out and follow on her golf cart, she sits on her condo porch and claps for hole number 1 and 2. But I mean, that's just an example. There's others.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's a big Scotty. So, and she even was when I was coaching the girls too.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jonathan Belcher, thank you for joining us and
thanks.
talking about the Glasgow Scotties golf team.
Appreciate it.
This is Brown Sports Bag presented by McDonald's Glasgow. We'll be right back.
Presented by McDonald's of Glasgow, it's back to the studio with James and John, the Brown Sports Bag.
All right, I want to thank Bart Roberts and Jonathan Belcher for joining us today to talk about Glasgow golf, Lady Scotties and Scotties. Next week, we will have Casey Edwards, the second time around Barron County girls golf coach, and then Craig Pippin, who will be in his second year coaching boys Barron County golf. They'll come in here next week to tell us about their teams and their golfers this year. John, not too long ago, you called and told me that you were trying to watch the Copa America, the U.S. men's national team play. Where they play? Is that the game against Uruguay you were trying to watch?
Yes.
And you said,
I was doing research for the show.
Yeah. Yes. And so you said that you tried to give it a chance, but you just couldn't deal with it.
I said it's unwatchable.
Yes, unwatchable.
The first 11 minutes lasted 45 minutes.
And that was the best 11 minutes the USA had in that game, even though they only lost 1-0.
Injuries, fake injuries, just yellow cards, yelling at the official.
I think your favorite thing is when somebody goes down and they carry him off on a stretcher and then they get up and come back.
It's the fake injuries and just I can't hardly handle it, to be honest with you.
I watched the most of the Uruguay-Brazil game, which was the quarterfinal game, and Brazil's supposed to win it. But it was kind of like watching Brazil is like watching the U.S. men's national team, and to me, in a way, because they'd have these plays, and I'm like, do these people not know how to use their left foot? Now, look, Brazil probably does know how to use their left foot, but maybe Uruguay was just packing it in the box. I don't know what was going on. They were missing everything. And then Uruguay ends up winning the game on penalty kicks, even though they played the last 15 minutes with 10 players. And so Brazil could not even score when Uruguay was a man down. And it was just the craziest thing as I watched the game, because I'm like, this is just brutal, because these two teams hate each other. I mean, they were cheap shots, punches thrown, just everything was going on. And I'm like, this is not soccer. You're right. It was unwatchable as a soccer game. As a spectacle, it was entertaining, but not in a good way for the game itself.
No, and it was just, I think the United States in the game we're talking about, I think they lost 1-0. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Yeah.
Just can't score. I mean, and I mean, didn't take a lot of shots, and I know they got one good American that plays overseas, one of the better players in the world. What's his name? That plays for one of the premier teams over there.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, you don't?
No.
You don't know the best American player across the world?
The guy who did not play against Uruguay was Weah, who got a red card.
Yeah, he had to,
when they lost to Panama 2-1.
No, the guy that's from Pennsylvania, the Prodigy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I forgot his name.
Yeah,
anyway,
me too.
He was out there, but I don't know. Then I watched the
post.
post.
You're talking about Pulisic?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Christian Pulisic, is that his name?
That's it.
Yeah. And it seemed like there was 5 people around him at all times. I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you,
it was kind of like watching if you have a really good player in basketball, and basically the team just defended him 5-on-1, and then he just didn't pass the ball to anybody. But then again, on the same time, if you watch when Pulisic makes passes to people, they can't get off the shot.
No, they can't. That's the other thing. I mean, there were goals to be had, but too slow to take the shot. Just too slow, and I was surprised. And then 30 minutes of the post game show is fire the coach.
Well,
but this is kind of the same. Same old for the the United States men's soccer team. It just they kind of just stuck in the mud. I don't know. It just we're just not elite at that level. It didn't seem like to me. But I was trying to watch the game, and I need to see action. Mm-hmm. Because I'm not somebody's just going to turn it on and watch it all the time. But I need to see action, scoring, things like that, rather than falling down and just constantly arguing with each other. It just, to me, it was
ambulance brought on the field to just haul people off.
Yeah, I don't understand for the betterment of the game too. I mean, I'm probably talking way over my head. I don't understand why you just can't sub people in and out. I don't understand once you're out, you're always out. It looks like to me it would be a little bit better for the game. Of course, you can say the same thing in baseball. Once you're out too.
Yeah.
But most sports, you can freely sub people in and out and so forth.
That is a commonality between those two games, actually. And it's kind of, I wonder if it's not the fact that the rules for soccer and the rules for baseball are really out of the late 1800s when you get right down to it.
Yep.
And there are aspects to it that just aren't reasonable anymore.
Right. The lack of a clock is another thing.
Yeah. So I mean, these rules. I had never really thought about this until you just said it. That the baseline rules for baseball and soccer are born out of 2 centuries ago, so to speak, and they've not really been modified a whole lot over 150 years.
You can sub in and out in high school.
Yeah.
But I don't know about college. I don't know if there's a limit. But in the Olympic soccer and FIBA or whatever, it is FIBA, right? FIBA. What is it? Soccer.
I don't know.
The federation, whatever.
I believe you're correct.
The governing rules.
Yeah.
Looks like to me that would make it a little bit better. You can put people in, take people out, and things like that. But it is odd to carry someone out.
The idea is that you have your manager is managing, and it's the same thing in baseball. They're making strategic decisions.
But it is strategic in basketball to put people in and take people out.
Yeah.
It's just odd to carry somebody off in a stretcher and then you spray some cold spray on their knee and they're back out. It just seems a little odd to me.
Well, and it is.
And while they're out, you're playing with a man down, waiting for him to go back in. Because once you sub, and the United States' second best player didn't feel good in the second half for whatever reason, got a bump on his foot or whatever, and he took himself out, and of course, he just sat over there and watched the game and never got back in the game. Just stuff like that, just a little frustrating.
Well, and it is a beautiful game when played beautifully.
That's correct.
And going back to the USA team, right now, physical talent-wise, is probably the most physically talented USA team there's ever been in terms of like just athletic ability, speed, size, for the most part. But the skill level, going back to the lack of scoring, I can't think of the guy's name, but I mean, he could not shoot with his left foot. Every pass that came to him, and he had 3 in the box against Uruguay, he had to transfer to his right foot to try to take a shot.
How does that happen at that level?
I don't know. See, that's the part that drives me crazy, and I think people who are soccer purists, when I say soccer purists, people who really study the game, this is the thing that they talk about. And the general audience would miss this because that's not what you're looking at.
Well, I would notice that they couldn't get a shot off when there were shots available. It took them too long to get the shot off.
Yeah.
I noticed
it's basically
that.
It's basically not being able to shoot a layup with your left hand is what it is. They can't one touch take a shot because if you at that level, those teams are good enough defensively. If you give them a window, they're going to close it.
It's like hockey. If you had to stop the puck every time it's passed to you before you took the shot, you'd never get a goal.
Yeah. And a lot of the scoring in soccer at all levels is redirection of a pass, not necessarily a shot that you take. So basically, somebody gives you a good pass, and you're just basically redirecting it to a spot away from the goalie or the defense. If you have to take even a second in the box, you're not going to get a shot off.
Yeah.
No matter it don't happen in high school, but but if you go and you look at the high school level, you're playing Bowling Green, and you got to take too long in the box before you take your shot. You're not getting it off.
That's right.
So just imagine at this international level, it's exactly what it's like. And that's what the USA, they can't do. They still can't do. They couldn't do it at the World Cup, and they couldn't do it in this Copa America. And I don't know what they're going to do about that.
Yeah, next, I don't even think the men are playing in the Olympics. It's the women are playing in the Olympics. The men's next opportunity is the World Cup, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. All right, well, this is Brown Sports Bag, our soccer take for this week. And we'll have more when we get closer to the high school season. We'll be right back, presented by McDonald's of Glasgow.
Presented by McDonald's of Glasgow, it's back to the studio with James and John, the Brown Sports Bag.
All right, we're back here on the Brown Sports Bag, presented by McDonald's of Glasgow. We just had to take a quick break there so we could change gears. We already had the golf in here, and we were talking about Griffin Jackson winning his age division at that Bowling Green Bluegrass Golf Tour event that was at Park Mammoth today. So good for him. I'll have the rest of the results online later. I got a few photos out there today. You can go to 104thescore.com and check it out. But we'll have some more info. And then they'll be playing at Willow Oaks tomorrow. That'll be day 2 of what they call the combo regional that they do in the Bluegrass Golf Tour. And so all these same golfers will be at Willow Oaks tomorrow. We'll go over there and get some photos and probably try to get a few more videos. I didn't have a whole lot of time to be out there today. I had some other things going on. So we'll get those results up. Some of the other people playing over there were like Lucy Zala and Chloe Witcher from Barron County. Jacob Spence was playing. He's from Barron County. Some of the younger guys that we were talking about, Wyatt Morgan was out there. He's like a young guy that's coming up at Glasgow. There were several others that were out there, so we'll have those results online in a little while. Tonight, when I say a little while, it'll be later tonight. Couple of other things. John suggested we start having a trivia contest on the show. We might invite the guest in and open every interview with, all right, trivia contest for today. What conference is SMU in?
I know that one.
Do you? What conference is that?
SMU is a new charter member of the ACC.
There you go. See, so you're going to know this. It's not.
No. Ask me Drexel or Hofstra.
I wouldn't have a clue. Drexel is.
Idaho, somebody like that. I wouldn't know, but I do know that SMU is one of the strange new members of the ACC.
Yeah, strange. Exactly right. I mean, you're talking about going from what used to be the Southwestern Conference to something else, Conference USA, I think at one point.
Only Texas member to the ACC.
Yeah? Golly. Yeah, well, everybody else joined the SEC.
Big Ten.
And the Big Ten, that's right.
And the Big 12.
And the Big 12. Oh, the Big 12 still exists?
No, not 12, but they added Utah.
Oh, yeah.
Arizona State.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yes, that's right. They basically...
And Colorado.
They soaked up all those Pac-12 schools.
Four of them. That's correct.
Yeah,
they lost Texas and Oklahoma.
Well, see, that's my thing. If Texas and Oklahoma aren't in the Big 12, then you can't call it the Big 12.
Listen,
You got to call it something else.
Listen, I'm not this SEC cheerleader. You know that.
No. You think it's overhyped a little bit?
To say the least. But I'll give them credit.
Oh, yeah.
The two teams that they added, they are at an even number 16, and all the states are at least connected.
Yes, contiguous, as they say.
Contiguous, correct. Texas and Oklahoma. There's two teams in Texas. They border, Louisiana. I assume Oklahoma borders Missouri and Texas and blah, blah, blah. So at least they're not, added Alaska State to the conference, So they're all at least connected. I'll give them that.
You can get on a freeway and drive there and not go through another state to have to.
That's correct. Unlike the Big Ten and unlike the ACC, who added Stanford, and ACC also added SMU, Stanford, and Cal.
Yeah.
And of course, the Big Ten added the four: Oregon, Washington, USC, UCLA.
But the Southeastern Conference should not be called the Southeastern Conference anymore. It should just maybe be called the Southern Conference.
Yeah, with Kentucky being the northernmost, right?
Yes, that's right. That's right. And so, they need to change their name. So they can't be called the Southeast. That's the first rule we need. We need to have a law.
Well, here's the deal. The NCAA granted conferences the right now to where they can have naming rights for their conference.
Yes, I saw that. What was the thing the other day I saw, and it didn't make any sense to me?
Like the ACC could be the Humana ACC or the Nike Big 12 or whatever.
Was it the MAC? One of these conferences, I didn't know they were doing this, and then they had some.
Well, the Big 12 is very close to having official naming rights.
Yeah. I wish I could remember where I saw this, because it was a smaller conference, and they had this whole tagline in front of it. And I was like, what is that?
That's what it is.
I thought it was a joke.
Nope. No joke.
It's not a joke.
Anything for an extra 100,000 or a million. That's right.
Yeah. So we don't need. It couldn't be the what is it? What's a good sugar that's Southern based? The Diamond Southeastern Conference sugar cubes or something. I mean, people love sugar in the South, so that's why I'm going with this.
And something fried.
Yeah, that's right. So it could be the Crisco Southeastern Conference.
That's correct. Yep.
Hey, I'm going to sign up and see if I can get that job. I'm just going to go through with the naming rights and pick out the different companies that would fit. If we can't have the conferences make sense, maybe we can have the naming rights make sense.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
We don't need no cryptocurrency Southeastern Conference. It's got to be Ma Bell.
It will be a wild ride this year, to say the least. 12-team playoff, I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But all this other stuff, whew.
Well, I mean, back to the Southeastern Conference thing, it's if you are Vanderbilt or maybe even Kentucky, I don't know, maybe Missouri. I mean, they had a really good year last year, but they had that outstanding running back, and he was the good year. But some of these schools that got into the Southeastern Conference, maybe Arkansas, at a certain period of time when it was a window that opened for them, they've got to be looking around now thinking, okay, we can compete and we're going to get the money, but how long are we going to be willing to just be, second fiddle in this conference?
As long as they keep getting the money.
I guess
clearly it's all that matters.
Yeah.
To most of these schools.
Yeah.
The money.
I mean, because
you're not looking forward to the Rutgers versus USC in football, 9 o'clock on, I think, September 27th. 9 o'clock start. Rutgers at USC.
Is that 9 Eastern or 9 Western?
9 out there.
9?
No. It's 9 Eastern.
Okay.
Yep.
I was going to say, just think about that. Yeah. One of the knocks that used to always come out of the Western schools is that nobody in the East Coast saw them because their games would start at regular time for them, 7, 8 o'clock, whatever it is on the West Coast.
Right.
So, now we're going to have schools that are going to be playing each other. They're going to have to come up with a middle line somewhere, because your practice schedule is based on the time, your play schedule based on the time, your routines are based on the time where you are.
Not now.
No. So you're right. I mean, that plus USC and Rutgers, who wants to see that?
Show me the money. Show me the money.
All right. All right, Cuba Gooding.
Yeah. You're not looking forward to Washington?
He was right. All these years later, turned out he was actually right.
That's right. What about Washington and Maryland? That was a good football game.
Oh, my gosh. No, I mean, Dominique Foxworth should be looking forward to it, but nobody else. Michael Penix Jr. on the sideline over there for the game.
Cal and Boston College?
Oh, man, these are sounding terrible. I mean, because Cal's not even been good, and neither has Boston College.
In football.
In football, yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Cal's good at the water sports.
Yeah, they are. They've occasionally been good at baseball. They've had a couple of decent football teams when they had people like, when they had, was it Mark Tedford was the head coach, quarterback
Yeah, Cal and Stanford are good at the Olympic sports.
They are indeed. Some of the best. All right, it's the Brown Sports Bag presented by McDonald's of Glasgow. We'll be back next week.
Thanks for listening, and be sure and join James and John once again next Monday at 4 for the Brown Sports Bag, a local weekly sports machine presented by McDonald's of Glasgow.
Coming soon to your FM dial, this is Fox Sports Radio, WCDS Glasgow, AM 1230.